Major League Baseball, I think they're going to have like over 1,000 people that they want to test for the antibodies.
Yeah, I mean they're trying to get obviously everyone wants an end date, right? They want to be able to hear someone say, okay, we'll be ready to go on May 1st, 15th, or
Right.
June or whatever. De Blasio spoke to CNN last night or maybe this morning, and he was saying, it's going to be a while before we can get like 50,000 people in Yankee Stadium, right? I mean, that's a lot of people, and what we're learning is that this virus can come back. So yeah, I mean, unless we have a widespread vaccine, I have a little kid. I don't know how quickly I am going to be out there among the masses, just kind of going about my daily business.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're going to be a little bit, certainly through May. I mean, if we got started to get things back to normal, sports with no fans, as probably as close to normal as we're going to get at the beginning. I'm thinking maybe the summer. I don't know if it's going to be any quicker than that.
And here's the thing, even with that, and I'd take it, I'd kill for it. Even with that, when we say back to normal, it's going to be weird watching these games with no fans. It's not going to be normal. It's going to be effing weird. We've done it before on a few events, and it's not the same. It's just not. I don't know if it's going to have much of a dynamic on the games, although I'm sure it will, right? There's no such thing as a home field advantage anymore. I don't know.
That's actually, the data scientist in me is looking forward to that a little bit, only because we'll actually be able to figure out what home field advantage really means, right? I mean, if you're playing in front of no fans, do you really get any sort of benefit other than, the creature comforts of home, right? I mean, so, I'm really interested to see, what happens from that aspect. But, yeah, it's going to be really weird. I mean, the PGA just had the Players' Championship, the first round in front of no fans. There's been discussions about having other sports. I know not technically a sport, but the WWE is going to be performing, I think, again in front of no fans. It's certainly going to be a change. I mean, it's going to be weird. There's really no other word for it. It's going to be weird.
So which one do you think comes back first? Which league comes back first?
Probably football, only because it has the latest start time, right? I mean, so far, with the exception of some logistics, football hasn't been that affected. Sure, they have to do the draft from their mom's basement at home, and they haven't been able to really interview people the way that they like to. But I think they have the advantage in terms of time. When do they start? In September? So, that gives them a little bit. They were going to shorten the preseason anyway. No one likes the preseason. So I think that they have the best chance of getting a regular season as we remember it. I don't see the NBA or the NHL finishing their regular seasons, and I'm really not sure what or if the playoffs are going to look like. And I think baseball would almost certainly have an abbreviated season.
Neil, did you see the proposal that college football could start maybe in February and go through May? I mean, how viable would something like that be?
I think that, everything is on the table. It would come down to, I think the biggest thing is the broadcasting, right? I mean, like, so much time and effort goes into creating these schedules and creating these media schedules. If you're having all the sports try to scramble to get their product on the field at or near the same time, how do you then work out the logistics of broadcast, right? I mean, ESPN certainly has a lot invested in the bowl games. There are games obviously on Saturdays, and then you have Sundays for football. So I'm not really sure how that's all going to work. And I think the pro leagues probably get the first dibs, right? You would think that maybe the major pro leagues will get their stuff back on track first before the collegiate level. That's just my own personal opinion. I don't know that for sure, but I'm just looking at, based on what the president has said, based on like the people that the president has brought in to quote unquote get sports back on track. It just seems to me that the pro leagues are the priority right now.
What'd you make of the Christian McCaffrey deal? We've kind of debated whether running backs deserve those type of contracts. He's still, though, very young.
Yeah, I don't think age is so much the issue as far as how he's used. We've seen these high-priced running backs last a year or two before they're either cut or traded. And there's been this huge debate, especially in analytics circles, do running backs matter? McCaffrey matters in terms of pass-catching running backs are the running backs that matter, right? You can plug and play these other guys that run around the field on the ground, but to find a guy like McCaffrey who can catch, who can run, who can make those type of plays, I think is a much better investment than, say, a guy like Ezekiel Elliott or Todd Gurley. So I think the money aspect is much more palatable to me based on how he's used and what he's done than just your prototypical type of running back.
Right. I mean, that's the reason why you're going to pay a guy like McCaffrey or like Austin Eckler for the Chargers instead of you're going to pay that guy before you're going to give Derrick Henry $13 million a season.
Right, but I think Derrick Henry gets that much unless unless the football teams have really learned their lesson, and they always surprise in terms of going back to the days of yore that you need a star type of running back when they're really just plug and play at this point. Like I said, getting a guy that can catch balls out of the backfield is a different story, but like you said, a guy like Derrick Henry. Two down back that doesn't catch passes. Those guys are, by and large, replaceable.
Neil, are you a believer in Dwayne Haskins?
I'm a believer in him to the point that I think we haven't seen enough. He's in a really bad spot, and I think he's in a bad spot for a number of reasons. Number one, the coaching change. Number two, he didn't really get a chance to play with a good team. I thought he was really good passing the ball to Scary Terry, but other than that, he really didn't do much. I think that we really don't know. And, the Redskins are in a bad spot and Haskins in a bad spot because there's no offseason. I heard the talk on the station yesterday about how he doesn't have the benefit of the off season, so that gives the inside track to someone that's familiar with the offense. I do agree with that, but I also think when you invest this heavily or this high of a draft pick in a quarterback, and you're through year one already that you don't really know what you have. Year two, you might not know what you have because he might not be able to play, and then at what point do you figure out if he is the guy, right? And if he's not the guy, you got to find the guy. So I just think that it's really a mess. I think that he probably could be a serviceable quarterback if given the offseason and given enough weapons to work and a coaching staff that believes in him. But he doesn't seem to have any of that right now.
All right, Neil, appreciate you joining us as always. Stay safe. We'll talk to you soon.
You too, guys. I miss you. Talk to you soon.